I want to talk about racism. But how I'm about to talk about racism, you've never heard of it like this before. And I don't know, depending on who see this one, hey, whatever, I don't care. Racism. What is racism? First of all, we don't even use the term correctly, but we all have, like, despite that, we all have the same understanding of racism, which is basically to hate. This is how I understand it. But like, this is, how do I say this? When I hear that word, this is what I understand that people mean. But this is not my understanding of it. Right? So what I understand that people mean when they say racism, excuse me, is to basically to hate a whole race of people, because of the color of their skin. So, and I really only know this to apply to black people, but whoever it applies, like whatever it is, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. This is my understanding of racism, and this is what it actually is. All racism is discrimination. That's all it is. It's just another expression of discrimination. That's all it is. And so when you put it in context, you understand that everybody can relate to discrimination. Black people, man, I don't even know where to go with this. Because black people love to use racism as a crutch, as an excuse, as a cop-out, as a way to comfort themselves for not being what they feel like they should be or could be, for not achieving, for not being successful, for being poor, for struggling. It's a crutch. That's what it is. It's an excuse. It's just another form of discrimination. And like I just said, everyone's been discriminated against. Like, you could, like, shit. Yes, you can be discriminated against for your color. But you can be discriminated against for so many different other reasons. You can be discriminated against for being overweight. You could be discriminated against for being underweight. You can be discriminated against for being a woman. You can be discriminated against for being a man. You can be discriminated against for being homosexual. You could be discriminated against for being straight. You could be discriminated against for being a lesbian or a transgender or all the other, like, it's so much shit out there now in this arena of gender, but any of it, like, you could be discriminated against for any of that. You could be discriminated against for how you dress, how you express yourself through how you dress, how you present yourself, for having tattoos, for having, like, face piercings, right? Like, there's so many reasons that you can be discriminated against. So it's not like, this special classification. It seems that way because it's talked about so much. But one thing I know, that in this world is a world built on lies, deception. And lies and deception are responsible for every form of suffering imaginable and unimaginable. There is only one cause for suffering, and that's lies / deception. Same thing, just different word. There is no other cause. And there's just so much to this. There's so many different ways to approach this. And to just conclude that you're not successful because of your skin color, or to conclude that you lack opportunities because of your skin color, to conclude that you haven't had the same chances as others because of your skin color. You know, you're not where you want to be in life if you feel like you're a failure, and to conclude that you're a failure or you're unsuccessful or is not as successful as you should be because of your skin color, like just your skin color. That shit is stupid. That shit is stupid as fuck. Because there's a lot of things that have to be taken into consideration that you're not taking into consideration if you're only focusing on your fucking skin color. It's a lot of shit. And I'm just gonna go down this little side street here and then come back around. But there are black people that are profiting off of promoting racism, off of all of that propaganda of racism. There are black people profiting. There are black people that have been eating and living good, acting like they're fighting against racism and fighting for the rights of black people. And it's total bullshit. They help keep racism going. They help keep racism alive and keep it strong because it puts money in their pockets. And that's the truth. So come back out here where I was at. So I'm just going to break this down to you. And what I feel is the simplest way to do it. There are universal laws that govern everything in this universe. There are universal laws that govern our experiences. Everything we will ever experience is governed by laws. You know, if racism was this big thing, then, you know, as people say it is, you wouldn't see black billionaires. There's a good number of black billionaires. Some of them you never heard of before, and some of them you have. I can think of two off the top of my head. Male and female. Just saying. If racism was this big thing as it's promoted to be, as we've been brainwashed and conditioned to think it is, excuse me, you just wouldn't have as many. Like, there are a lot of successful black people billionaires, millionaires, 100,000aires, business owners, fucking college professors, fucking astrophysicists. I mean, like, astronauts. Like, we're everywhere. It's bullshit. Universal laws. This shit, man. Okay, so there are laws that govern all of our experiences, right? And there's a quote that says something like the only handicap in life or the only disability in life is a bad attitude. Now, the energy that we put out into the universe is multiplied and comes back to us in the form of experience. Now, if you want to say you're at a disadvantage, it's not because of your skin color. It's because of your information. That one law that I just gave you, the energy you put out is the energy that's multiplied and returned back to you in the form of experience. You could use that one law and totally transform your life and do whatever the fuck you want to do. Just that one law. If you learn to just be more conscious and mindful, or more conscious and aware of how you use your energy, of the type of energy you put out. Negative, toxic energy is going to be multiplied and returned back to you. Fearful energy will be multiplied and returned back to you. Excuse me. Sheesh, like, there's so much to talk about. And there's so many different ways that I want to go with this. But your attitude is the problem. It's not your skin color. It's your attitude. You know, and I'm one of them, but there's, like, I've heard a lot of black people, like, that I know personally and that I've listened to, like, comedians and different things like that, just in talking about black people and just admitting that we don't like being around black people ourselves. But let me say this, and this is how I look at it. There's two classifications or two categories of black people. You have black people and then you have niggas. And they are not the same. You know, it's like like niggas is just a totally different like race of black people. They're not the same. So niggas are the ones making rap. And, you know, in their, and not all of them, but in their, the niggas that make rap, they talk about drugs. They talking about killing people. They're very disrespectful to women. Right? Niggas sag their pants. Like their pants are hanging half off their ass and half of their ass is out and you can see their underwear. You know, niggas sell drugs. Niggas are violent. Niggas are angry. Niggas are hateful. You know, niggas are abusive. You know, niggas have their own code that they live by. They live by a totally different set of rules than black people. Now, black people are just, just black people. Which I personally, I don't even like that label, like black people, like, that, for us to be defined by a skin color that's not even accurate. Like, I am not black. My hoodie is black. Clearly, I am brown. So, but whatever. I don't want to get hung up on that, and just take away from what I'm trying to say here. So that's niggas. And so, like, if I say, and when I've heard other people say they don't like being around black people, what we really mean is we don't like being around niggas. Nobody likes being around niggas. Even niggas don't like being around niggas because niggas are grimy. They shady, they disrespectful. They'll stab you in the back. You can't trust them. They're untrustworthy. They have a criminal mentality. They have they just operate by a different code. Okay. From my experience, they're loud. You're not going to have peace in your neighborhood, in your community, if there's niggas there, because niggas bring violence and shootings and fights and, loud ass parties at 2 and 3 in the morning. Like, they're the only people that live in that entire community. So that's my perspective. That's how I see it. So these are the people that use racism as a crutch. Because black people take responsibility for their actions. They understand that they are responsible for the consequences of their actions. And they just live by a different code. And so the billionaires, the black billionaires, these are black people. The billionaires, the millionaires, yada, yada, yada. If a nigga should happen to make it and get rich, they won't stay rich for long if they stay a nigga. You have to put down those nigga ways if you want to remain successful. Just as I heard 50 Cent saying this, that, and he was talking about rappers, right? Like, rappers, they come into the game as niggas. A lot of them. Like, as street niggas. But if they want to stay in the game, and if they want to, stay rich and stay successful, then they can't remain street niggas. They have to change. They have to become black people. Right? And you see, like, there's a lot of examples of niggas that made it out the ghetto, out the hood, out the projects, became successful in music specifically. That's what I know about. Became successful, but they stayed niggas and they got killed or they got locked up for a dumbass amount of time. Shit. You look at Tupac and Biggie. That's two examples right there. Tupac actually, like, his shit worked in reverse, because when he came in the game, he was talking about, like, some real shit, like Brenda's Got a Baby. You know what I mean? And he was more on a I want to help my people kind of thing. That's where he was coming from when he first came in the game, and then he just kind of got turned the fuck out. And now he's a fucking gangbanger and all this shit and getting in fights and all that. And he just got worse and worse. And man, like he went from loving his people and wanting to help his people to hating his people and just being disrespectful on some different levels towards his people. And he's not here now. And he could have he could have been so great. Like he had it in him to like really make a change and make a difference. He could have been so great. He was talking about getting into politics and, you know, just trying to change the system from being inside the system. But it was too much nigga in him. And that nigga destroyed him. And there's this shit. There's a lot of people I can name, you know. But the point of me saying all of that is what killed Tupac. Was it his skin color? No. It's his fucking attitude. You know? When we are not successful, it's not because of the color of our skin. It could be like several things. One, it could be our attitude. It could be we're just negative as fuck. It could be we're just toxic. We're disrespectful. We're not professional. We're unpleasant to be around. Excuse me. Because of our character and our nature. Like what type, it could just be us. It could just be what type of person we are. It's not skin color. It's just, I don't like being around you. You're too fucking negative. Like you're discouraging. Like you're miserable. You're unhappy. Like your energy is heavy. It could be shit like that. Right? It could also be the shit that you're trying to be successful in is not even part of your purpose. It could be that you're just off track. You know, you could be trying to be a square when you should be trying to be a circle. You know, like whatever. You know, just you fill out a job app and because you didn't get the job, you know, you automatically say it's because I'm black. Maybe that's not where you were supposed to be. You know, there is like things like destiny and purpose and shit like that, you know, that you have no say in. You know, you don't get the call shots like that. You know, these are things that you have to discover. And we all have a process that we have to go through. You know, and this process is not ours to dictate. So we just need to learn how to humble ourselves and get in line and get in flow with the natural process or the script for our lives and just cooperate with that. Like it could be that. You know, I've always like say like with rejection, you know, because look, I used to say the same shit. I used to blame racism for a lot of shit. And I just realized it's bullshit. I used to I don't feel like anybody's been rejected more than me. Right. And rejection used to make me depressed. Rejection used to cause depression in me, like severe depression. It would trigger it, you know, and that was until I learned that rejection is a blessing. Rejection is protection, because if you will never be rejected by someone that's supposed to be in your life, and you will never be rejected by how you say this, you will never be rejected for an opportunity that you're supposed to have. If you're supposed to be a whatever, then you will be that, and nothing in the world can stop that. Like if you're supposed to, you know, I mean, nothing will stop it. So you have to factor in destiny and purpose and process. You have to take your eyes off of this physical realm and look at behind the scenes into the spiritual realm, because it's the spiritual world that governs this physical world. And there are laws that we can learn and follow to enhance our experience in this life. And I'm just saying, if you're a shitty person, I mean, people aren't rejecting you because of your skin color. If you just have a negative attitude, like if you have anger issues, if you have a short fuse, you're not being rejected because of your skin color. It's just you're unpleasant to be around. Now, am I saying that people don't get rejected or denied opportunities because of their skin color? Like, am I saying that never happens? That's not what I'm saying at all. Because, of course, it does happen. But like I said earlier, it happens to people that are overweight too. It happens to people that are too tall. It happens to people that are too short. It happens to people that have too many tattoos, too many piercings. Like a lot of shit, a lot of reasons. It could just be the way you dress. Like white people get it for being white. Asian people get it for being Asian. Like shit. They really fucking get it. Redheads get it for being so fucking pale. I mean, it's just shit. I mean, we live in a judgmental society. And people just talk shit. I mean, that's, we haven't learned to embrace and appreciate our differences as a society, so we judge them. And I'm just saying, it's not a unique story to black people. Like discrimination is not a unique story to black people. Everyone goes through it. I've heard like some of the most successful white people explain of instances in their lives where they've went through it. But you don't use it as a crutch, and that can't stop you. Like, you gotta understand, like, that can't stop you. That shit don't exist in my world. I just don't give it any attention. I don't even, like, I'm talking about it now. But once I've learned that what we call racism has no power over me, like, it has no power. It doesn't have power over you unless you give it power over you. And you give it power over you by believing in that shit and blaming it instead of taking responsibility for yourself. The energy you put out is the energy that is multiplied and returned back to you. We all reap what we sow. And it's not just in our actions, it's in our thoughts. If we have negative thoughts, there are consequences to negative thoughts. Even if we never act on them, there are still consequences. Thoughts are energy. And again, the energy you put out is the energy that's multiplied and returned back to you. All you got to do is stop focusing on racism and focus on you. Focus on the energy that you're putting out. Focus on how the fuck you're thinking and what you're allowing yourself to think about. Focus on what you're hearing. Instead of listening to all this negative bullshit, start listening to positive messages, positive teachings. You make these adjustments. And I mean, shit, you could change the whole narrative of your life. You can change. Like if you feel like you're not getting opportunities now, you could change that. You could change anything. You can change anything. Racism is not a factor. It is only a factor when you're ignorant and you're believing the lies that the powers that be, these fake ass powers that be, are telling you. Because it's designed, the system is designed to make you believe in this shit because it keeps you angry and it makes you think that you don't have power over your life, that you have no control. And when a people is angry and hostile, they don't have any power. They've given their power away to whatever it is they're angry about. In this case, racism. Stop feeding on that hatred. Change what you're listening to. Change how you think. Change how you speak. And change how you treat others. Change the energy you put out into the universe. And you'll see. Like, you'll see everything that I'm saying is true. Because I've been through it. I've been on both sides of it. You know, and like, as a black person, I've cussed the police out. And I don't say that proudly or anything like that. Like, inside a police station, I've done it. You know, and I'm just saying, like, the police brutality and all this shit, I've never experienced it. And I've done things that, you know, if I would have experienced it, you know, some people hearing the story could probably be like, okay, he had that coming. He kind of deserved that. But even in situations like that, I've never experienced. I'm just saying, they are programming your mind to believe this shit because it renders you powerless. It leaves you with a victim's mentality. You start believing you're a victim and that you have no control. And you are now at the mercy of white people or whoever it is that you feel is racist towards you. You're giving them power by believing that shit. And the power is yours. And it has nothing to do with your fucking skin color. You just have to change the way you fucking think. And you do that by changing what you listen to. And then you change the way you talk. You change the way you believe. And you will change your entire fucking life. And you'll start seeing those opportunities spring up. You'll start seeing doors opening. You know, your income will start elevating. You know, you'll start becoming more and more successful. Like, we're doing it. There's like tons of fucking examples of people that's doing it. There's a dude named Jay Morrison. I follow him on Facebook. He was a nigga, a drug dealer. Now he's a fucking real estate mogul. And let me see if I can say this right. He started the first black crowd fund or hedge fund or some shit like that. I forgot the term for it. But basically what it is it's like stocks. It's like stocks. Like, you can invest in what he's doing in real estate for as little as $500, and you can take part in this portfolio of real estate and receive profits. Like, he's the first black person to do that shit. He used to be a fucking drug dealer. There's no fucking excuses, man. That's what I'm saying. Racism, we're using it as an excuse. It's not an excuse. Just gotta stop bullshitting around and stop fucking blaming everybody and everything for why you are not where you need to be, and do what the fuck you need to do. You're fucking toxic. That's what it ain't got nothing to do with your skin color. You're fucking in some way you're toxic. You either have toxic thinking, toxic beliefs. The energy you're putting out is toxic. You're doing it to yourself. It's not your fucking skin color. Stop believing that shit. Because the people that are teaching that shit are profiting off of that shit, and they need you. Yes, the black people that's teaching that shit, they need you to believe in that shit so they keep a job. They need us to be angry at white people so they can keep a job. They ain't doing shit. They just talking. They just running their mouth. And if you listen to them, you'll get angry. You start believing that shit. You start looking at white people funny. You start not liking white people. And now you're doing the same shit that you're claiming that they're doing. You're judging a people without even knowing them. All right, I'm done. I'm gonna leave this alone. I'm out. You let me know what you think. I'd love to hear it, but I'm out. I'm trying to be out if this fucking button will work, and it's not working. So